welcome back to the channel. My name is Sharon, I'm an artist from BC, Canada. In this video, I'm going to talk about 3 main factors to consider when you're deciding on how to price your artwork. So before I start, if you do like this content and you find it helpful in some of the information I provide in this channel, please consider sharing and subscribing and sharing the content on this channel. It really does help. So on with the video. So the 3 main factors that I would consider thinking about before pricing your art product. It's a really hard topic because your artwork is kind of like your baby, and it's hard to put a price on your art. But that's what society is telling you. That's what they're telling you on e-commerce. When you're planning to sell your artwork, you just have to do it. So these are some things I think about. The number one thing is to consider, what is your goal? What is your goal at the end of this? Are you hoping to make this a side business, a full-time job? Are you just hoping to break even or just earn some coffee money on the side? What is your goal? On top of that, that's your financial goal. Now to consider is, what is your goal in terms of an artist? Like, do you want to spread your artwork and just meet friends, meet other artists? Do you want to share a specific message? Just doing it for fun? Like, having your financial goal and your artistic goal in mind will help you focus on how you want to price your artwork. Because ultimately, this is not something you have to set in stone. You can change it later on from time to time, depending on where you are in your artist journey. But ultimately, go back to those goals, those financial goals, those artistic goals, and see if they are still aligned with your vision. So that's the first thing I would suggest for you to consider. Find a notebook, grab a coffee, grab a tea, sit down, and just write down what you think is important for you as an artist, and both financially and artistically. The second thing I would suggest considering is to count factors that you would consider that you put in terms of how much it costs for you. Because ultimately, when you're pricing your artwork, you're hoping that there is some kind of balance there. You're balancing between your input and your output. So people are paying for your input. So what is your input? So your input could be related to the time you spend, how much time you spend on the artwork. Now, this is not just creating the artwork, but the time to explore and research the idea that you have is also important. Time you put into researching, or in terms of packaging, how to package the artwork properly, the cost of the medium, of course, whether it's like paper or watercolor, brushes, whatever. Your time, I think it's really hard to measure. To be honest, for the bottom line, I find that it's really impossible for people to pay you what you want, because your time you can't measure it, like how much your time is worth. People will never be able to pay for it, but I guess you can give a rough estimate on it for the sake of argument. So you consider your material, your time, and then, like, let's say you also have different types of platform, like social media, that you are advertising your artwork on, or like you're maintaining your SEO and your websites and things like that. So those are also things to consider, to factor in what your input is, kind of guess how much people should pay for your output, which is your artwork. The third thing you should look into is to look into research into your market. What are other people selling for their artwork that are similar to yours, or people who, now don't necessarily look at the biggest artists out there with like a huge audience, huge following, but maybe something on par, or at least if you do have like an artist that you really love, have a look at them, and that could be your goal, but it may take time for you to get there. So that might be a way for you to reasonably decide what price to put on your artwork when you're deciding when to sell your artwork. So that will be some ideas for you to consider when you decide to sell your artwork, and how and what price you should sell your artwork at. So the 3 factors I mentioned about Other tips and tricks I would recommend is that when you do decide to sell your artwork, take into account of like shipping and things like that. Whatever price you set on your artwork, is good to take a part of that price accounting for shipping, because let's say your artwork costs, you decide it's $10 for this 4-inch by 4-inch print, but shipping is going to cost them $8. People are going to be like, that's ridiculous, I'm paying $8 for shipping for an item that's $10. So it's good to kind of account for that shipping, and just say you can price your item at $14 and the shipping will be $4 or something like that. And that seems a little bit more reasonable to your potential customer and client. So that's it for the video on how to price your artwork. I hope you find it helpful. If you have other suggestions or ideas that you think is important to consider in terms of pricing your artwork, please consider putting it in the comments below and sharing with other artists. I'm sure everybody would appreciate it. So that's it for the video. I'll see you in my next vlog. Bye now.